Fall Fest, a Gallery of Seasons story. Autumn World 3 by Brian J. Klink. Hi, Karch here. Today I'm here to tell you a little more about our home in Autumn World and our most special holiday, Fall Fest. I'm also going to take some time and introduce you to a few more of my fantastic friends. You're going to love them. Of course, there's Whisper, my best friend for as long as I can remember. We do almost everything together. Whisper makes no audible sounds and communicates by channeling thoughts directly to others. But there are many more friends here in Autumn World, each with special and unique traits and talents. You probably remember Ghost from Halloween Hollow when it popped in to warn us about which flies left. And Perseus, who lives in Mountain Lake and keeps an eye out for things in the area's streams and Cobblestone Creek. But there are more. There's Schnoz, who is often found by the three glorious maple trees next to the Serenity Bench. Schnoz has an excellent sense of smell. This talent has kept us safe from the Witchfly sisters on many occasions. And Insight, who is quite clever and smart. We all know Insight can be somewhat of a busybody, but has a good heart. There are more, but let's move on to today's story about Fall Fest. Fall Fest celebrations are held at Castaway Cabin and are full of fun festivities. Castaway Cabin sits in the middle of Autumn World just below Mountain Lake and is a manageable hike from the Mystic Mountains. Castaway Cabin was once home to a nice family, but they left many seasons ago and have yet to return. Since the cabin was empty, someone started calling it Castaway Cabin, and it's been that ever since. Understanding how important Fall Fest is to Autumn World is actually quite easy. Imagine combining your most fun days all into a single event, like celebrating your birthday and some other special days all at the same time. It is the most glorious few days we have and about the only time everyone in Autumn World gets together to celebrate. Do you want to know what we are celebrating? Well, Fall Fest is our celebration of syrup season. You see, we make the tastiest maple syrup right here in Autumn World. It is absolutely delicious. We even ship it to the other worlds, Spring World, Summer World, and Winter World. But that's not for today's story. I bet you wonder how we make it, and that's a really good place to start today's adventure. As you might imagine, to make enough of the tastiest maple syrup takes a lot of teamwork and effort. Each jug of Mountain Lake tasty maple syrup requires attention to detail and care. Let's explore the process and you will quickly see how the Fall Fest story gets exciting. First, we collect maple sap in buckets that are attached to the three glorious maple trees. The three glorious maple trees sit right by the Serenity Bench near Cobblestone Creek. We enjoy our time telling stories about friends and adventures while waiting for the buckets to fill with sap. Then we all work together to carry them back to Castaway Cabin. Once we return to Castaway Cabin, we patiently take turns and pour all of the buckets of maple sap into the Celebration Cauldron. You'd be surprised how long it takes to pour out a whole bucket of sticky sap. Once the Celebration Cauldron is full, we start the fire to heat it up. But wait a minute, you need to know what happened to the Celebration Cauldron. You see, the Celebration Cauldron always sat in the backyard of Castaway Cabin until it was stolen by Mother Witchfly. Why would she do that? Well, Mother Witchfly was very angry for being exiled from Mountain Lake. So she swooped down on her broomstick and snatched it up and took it to the dark side of the Mystic Mountains. And that's where the Celebration Cauldron has been ever since. Now, since Mother Witchfly was exiled, she can't return to Mountain Lake. But as you might have guessed, she has convinced her two daughters to seek revenge for her exile. And that's why Witchflies left and Witchflies right torment us to this day. In fact, our cherished Celebration Cauldron has been repurposed by the Witchfly sisters. For it is the same cauldron that was once used to make our Mountain Lake tasty maple syrup that is now used to test their magic spells and potions, and is now referred to as the Cauldron of Spells. Fortunately, we can tell when a new spell or potion is being tested by the Witchfly sisters. How? Well, when they use our old Celebration Cauldron to mix their ingredients, the smells often blow across the Mystic Mountains, and Schnoz can tell right away. His incredible sense of smell is often our early warning system. Oh, thank you, Whisper. You want me to get back to the Fall Fest story. Okay, then. So even though we don't have the Celebration Cauldron to make our Mountain Lake tasty maple syrup, we still enjoy getting together at Castaway Cabin. And Insight figured out a way to turn on the old stove in Castaway Cabin. So we can now use the sap from the three glorious maple trees to make cookies and candies. So that's the story of Fall Fest and how the exiled Mother Witchfly stole the Celebration Cauldron and took it to the dark side of Mystic Mountains. You also got to meet Schnoz, our early warning system, and Insight, who was smart enough to figure out how to make cookies and candies from our maple tree sap. Whisper and I hope you enjoyed our time together and you will look for more adventures from the Gallery of Seasons. 6 Autumn World characters appeared in today's adventure. Can you find them in the Autumn World painting? There's Karch, Whisper, Perseus, Ghost, Schnoz, and Insight. We'll give you just a few seconds here to take a look. Have you found any yet? Here they are. Karch, Whisper, Perseus, Ghost, Schnoz, and Insight. There you go.